Now that left us with 96 samples or batches to test. 17 of those 96 tested positive for the regrowth or presence of live anthrax, and every one originated from Dugway Proving Ground. Of the total batches in Dugway's inventory, more than half tested positive. 17 of 33 batches at Dugway were tested positive. Now, obviously, when over half of those anthrax batches that were presumed to be inactivated instead proved to contain live spores, we have a major problem. And the numbers confirm this judgment. At this point, we know that over the last 12 years, 86 laboratories in 20 states, the District of Columbia, and 7 foreign countries ultimately received what was supposedly inactivated spores, but were live, and all originated, as I said, from Dugway Proving Ground. I expect those numbers to increase. And we are very, very confident that because of these unique circumstances, there were no known risks to the broader public. A healthy person would have to purposely ingest, drink the sample, or inject it, and would have to do it several times for them to become infected. By any measure, this was a massive institutional failure with a potentially dangerous biotoxin. So the first thing we had to know was, why did it happen?
In general, Dugway's protocols were lower in some areas, and the processes were a little bit different, but they weren't dramatically so. The group did not find that there was any recklessness on the part of anybody at Dugway. They did not find that there was any negligence or any gross negligence. So this is a deeper problem than that. When I read the report of the review group, what struck me, though, was that there were indicators that I think that the technical leadership at Dugway should have seen and understood, and should have indicated to them that something was wrong, that they need to look more closely at their procedures. Too high a percentage of their batches were tested positive when they went through the verification test. And when the review team asked them what that number was, the original answer they got was 2 or 3%. But the review team checked the records, and the records showed that it was more like 20%. That's a significant difference. There's going to need to be a scientific body of research to more fully characterize and understand how anthrax responds to radiation, and how the test to verify that anthrax has been inactivated will be successful in a higher percentage. That's what we need to do the research on to establish a standard.
You mentioned a verification test. Can you explain what that verification test was? And can you explain the discrepancy between the 2% and the 20%? Was the 2% something that the lab had said to you, but then, was that a lie, or was this just
it was a mistake. I would not call it a lie at this point. And Wahid, you may want to comment on that. The team was asked the question, how often do your samples fail the verification test? And the answer was 2 or 3%. And they went and checked the records and found it to be much higher than that. Do you want to say?
No, that's true. And the entire dialogue that we had at every facility is actually at one of the appendices in the report. So you can see what the actual dialogue was. But it was a simple misunderstanding on their part what the actual failure rate was, and when we asked for specific data to support that failure rate, the data showed that it was significantly higher.
There was also an incident a few years earlier at Dugway in which apparently a live sample had gone through their process and not been detected. So they had some earlier indications that they might have a problem as well.